Hi everyone, True here. Today I'm going to show you how to make these pretty little ribbon roses that you can use on all kinds of projects, cards, scrapbook pages, wedding decorations like what I used them for. My friend Heidi Blankenship is the one that turned me on to this way of making flowers out of ribbon. She did a tutorial that showed how to make a shabby chic version of it, and I'm just going to show you how I've adapted her tutorial to fit what I needed it for the wedding. First of all, you start out with a length of ribbon, a satin ribbon about 15 inches long, and you cut it about every inch or so, really close to the edge. I cut about to where the grosgrain ribbon on the Really Reasonable Ribbon white satin starts. And Heidi's was a vintage type looking rose, and she left the corners on hers, but for mine I wanted a more elegant type of rose, so I kind of trimmed the edges round, and I just do it by folding them over at the cut and just kind of rounding them off, and I'll do that along the whole length. I'm working upside down as usual, so I'm hoping you're able to see this well. Okay, after you get your edges all cut round, you'll take a heat gun and something to hold the ribbon down with while you're using the heat gun on it, and you will gently heat until the ribbon starts to curl up, and you'll do each one individually. Okay, something else I did a little bit differently than Heidi. I wanted some larger roses on some of my projects, so I cut 5 more pieces, about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, to make some larger petals on the outside of the rose, and then you'll heat those as you did the other. Then you'll want to take some good adhesive, and I use Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, because it works so well on fabric. And you start by, let's see, start over here, working upside down, putting a little piece kind of in an L shape on the first petal, and then you roll it to form the center of your rose. And you'll have to just kind of hold it in place until the glue sticks. And then after that, I usually do 4 or 5 petals with glue. I just run a glue line along the bottom. It doesn't have to be very thick. The thinner it is, actually, the easier it is to get them to stick and stay while you're working with them. And you just start rolling. Pinching the bottom as you go. And you just keep working the ribbon until the flower is the shape that you want it. We'll do some more glue. Now see, if I'd stop right there, that would make a lovely rose bud. But I want a rose, so I'm going to continue on. Your fingers will get messy. And then when you've rolled it all up, kind of pinch the bottom so the base is smaller than the top. And there you have a rose similar to the one Heidi made. Now I want mine a little bigger, so remember the larger pieces that we cut? I'm going to snip those apart. And put some glue. Now on the first part of the rose, we rolled it with the curl facing inward to make the rose. I want this to be like a blooming opening rose, so the rest of the petals I'm going to have them facing outward or down. So I'll turn them over and glue them. Just place them on the rose. See how it curls under already? Okay, and then you'll just add the other 5. Overlap the first larger one a little bit to add the second. And you'll do the same with each of the other petals. And that is what the rose looks like. Now I needed yellow roses for the wedding projects that I did, and I wanted them to be variegated. And in order to get the exact color I needed, I got my Copic markers, number Y11 and number E51, and I used the pointy end and just go in and color in some of the areas of the rose. I did them darker in the centers, kind of like Mother Nature does. And then as I get farther out, just kind of did the lower inside parts of the petals. And then I went over it with the other. I didn't have the right color of yellow, is why I used the 2. You could use just one if it was the right color for you, or you can use pinks or purples or whatever color you want to make your rose. And you don't have to be real careful about where you put it, because Mother Nature isn't, and because we were going to smooth it out a little bit in just a second here. Okay, now what you'll need is some alcohol. Copic markers are alcohol based. I just use my lid. Keep in mind now that the Fabri-Tac gets loosened up by alcohol, so you may have to pinch it back together if it comes loose in a couple of spots, but that's okay. Then you'll just take a paintbrush, soak it with the alcohol, and then go in and hit the areas where you put the Copic marker, and see how it goes from a drastic line to when you put the alcohol on there, it smooths it out and it gives it a nice little fade like a real rose would have on it. And just anywhere you put the Copic marker, just lay in some alcohol. You'll want to soak it up quite a bit so that it all blends and bleeds. And I'm pinching the base, kind of squishing it all together so that the glue re-sticks there where it might have come loose. And you may have a couple of frays to trim up. But there you go, a pretty variegated ribbon rose in whatever color you need to make it in. Thanks again for watching my video. I will post a couple of projects that I made for the wedding using these ribbon roses, and reasonable ribbon, and pick you out some white satin ribbon, like 7/8 inch or 1 inch, or any other color. You can always make them in pre-colored satin also. But give it a try. I think you'll like it. Thanks, and happy crafting.